I buried my husband on a Tuesday. It was raining. The kind of cold, miserable rain that seeps into your bones and stays there. And as they lowered him into the ground, I felt something I hadn't felt in 30 years. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't grief. It was relief. And then, standing there in the downpour, clutching a wilted lily, I made a decision. I had been the perfect, quiet wife for 3 decades. But the secret I kept for him, the one that ruined my life, it was time to use it. He thought he was safe. He thought he'd won. But the grave doesn't protect you from the truth. It just makes it easier to tell. To understand why I felt that way, you have to go back to the beginning, to the man I thought I married. My name is Sarah, and when I was 22, I met David. He was the kind of handsome that made you forget your own name. Tall, charming, with a smile that could light up a room and eyes that made you feel like you were the only person in the world. We met at a friend's barbecue in the summer of '93. He brought a homemade pie. Can you believe it? A man who bakes? My friends swooned. I was smitten. We had a whirlwind romance. Dinners, drives, talks about the future that felt like a movie script. He was a successful architect, or so he said. He was building a life, and he wanted me in it. Within a year, we were married. Within 2, we had our son, Leo. Life was idyllic. We lived in a beautiful colonial house in a quiet Connecticut town. David was a devoted father. He coached Leo's little league team. He'd wake up with him on weekends to make pancakes so I could sleep in. He was the guy everyone wanted to be, the guy I was proud to be married to. But here's the thing about a perfect life. It's only perfect because you're not looking in the right places. And the cracks started to show in a way I never could have imagined. It was a Tuesday night in October of 1998. Leo was 4, asleep upstairs. I was reading in bed. David came in, his face pale, his hands trembling. He wasn't a man who trembled. "Sarah, I need you to listen to me. Something happened. Something terrible." My first thought was Leo. I jumped out of bed. "What? Is it Leo? Is he okay?" He grabbed my arms, hard. No, Leo's fine. It's not Leo." He led me downstairs to the living room. He was shaking. He poured himself a whiskey, his hands fumbling with the bottle. Then he told me. He said he'd been working late. He was driving home on that winding back road near the old Miller farm. It was dark, raining, just like at his funeral. And he said a girl just ran out in front of his car. He didn't have time to stop. He hit her. I felt the blood drain from my face. "Oh my God, David. We have to call an ambulance. Is she okay? We have to go back." He shook his head, his eyes wild with fear. "I can't, Sarah." I panicked. I drove away. I was horrified. "Drove away? David, you have to go back. It's an accident. It's not your fault she ran out, but leaving is a crime." He grabbed me again, his fingers digging into my skin. "You don't understand. I can't. I was coming back from a site visit, but I'd had a beer with a client. Just one. But my license. I lost it last year for a DUI. I never told you. If I go back, they'll test me. I'll go to prison, Sarah, for years. Leo will grow up without a father. We'll lose the house, everything. Please." I was stunned. He was thinking about a beer and a suspended license, while a girl, was probably lying in a ditch. I pulled away. "I don't care, David. It's a person. We have to do the right thing." His face changed then. The panic hardened into something cold, something I'd never seen. "The right thing?
The right thing is for me to be here, for us, for Leo. She ran out in front of me. It was her fault. If I go back, I'm the one who gets punished. Is that what you want? For Leo to grow up visiting his father in a prison? He was twisting it, making me feel like I would be the one destroying our family if I forced him to call. I didn't sleep that night. I lay there staring at the ceiling while David sat in the dark living room. The next morning I turned on the news, and there it was. A story about a 17-year-old girl named Emily. She was walking home from her part-time job at the diner. They found her the next morning by the side of the road. She was dead. I remember sliding down the kitchen wall, the phone clutched in my hand, the reporter's voice a distant drone. I wanted to call. I wanted to scream the truth. But then I heard little feet on the stairs. Leo rubbing his eyes, asking for his morning cartoon. "Mommy, why are you crying?" I looked at my son, and I thought about David's words. Prison. Leo without a father. The shame, the pity, the life he'd have. So I made a choice that has haunted me every single day for 30 years. I chose to be quiet. I chose to protect my family. We went to the police station that day. David, with a straight face, told them he'd been home with us all night. The officer smiled, thanked him, and crossed him off their list of people who owned a car matching the description. I stood there, holding Leo's hand, and said nothing. I was an accomplice. Not to the accident, but to the lie. For years, I told myself I did the right thing. David was a good father. He was a good husband. He never raised his voice, never hurt us. He was just a man who made a terrible mistake. The guilt was my burden to bear. Atonement was my private penance. But you can't build a life on a lie. It seeps into the foundation. It poisons everything. There were little things. David would get twitchy every year on the anniversary of Emily's death. He'd drink more. He'd get this distant look in his eyes. I thought it was guilt. I thought it was remorse. Then, about 15 years in, I found a box in the back of his closet. A locked box. I'd never pried before. That night, driven by something I can't explain, I used a paperclip to open it. Inside, there was no money, no old love letters. There was a worn-out high school yearbook from 1998. And tucked inside it was a photograph of a girl. It was Emily. On the back, in handwriting I didn't recognize, it said, D. Always and forever. Meet me at the fair. E. My blood ran cold. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly tore the photo. D? Meet me at the fair? They knew each other? I didn't confront him. I was a coward. I put it all back. But the seed of doubt was planted. The accident wasn't just a random, tragic occurrence. It was connected to us. Years passed. The doubt festered. Leo went to college, got married. David and I grew old together, but we grew apart. We slept in separate beds. We were just two people sharing a house, bound by a 30-year-old secret that was slowly crushing me. When he got sick, pancreatic cancer, I felt another wave of that shameful relief. He was going to be free, and so was I. He suffered for 6 months. I was his nurse, his caretaker. I held his hand. And on his last night, delirious with pain and morphine, he looked at me, his eyes clearing for just a moment. He grabbed my wrist, his grip surprisingly strong. He pulled me close, his breath rattling in his chest. He whispered something in my ear. I didn't mean to. I just wanted her to stop screaming. I shot upright, pulling away from him. What? David, what did you say? But he was gone. His eyes were still open, staring at the ceiling. A final, peaceful expression on his face. He was dead. And in his last moment, he had shattered the last 29 years into 1,000,000 pieces. I didn't mean to. I just wanted her to stop screaming. He didn't say I hit her. He said I wanted her to stop screaming. The accident wasn't an accident. He didn't just hit her. Something else happened. Something he had to silence. I didn't cry at his funeral. I stood there, numb, that whisper echoing in my head. And that's when I decided. I had been quiet long enough. Not just for my sake, but for Emily's. I was going to find out what really happened that night. And then, I was going to make sure the world knew the truth about David, the beloved father, the Little League coach, the man who took a secret to his grave. Or so he thought. The revenge wasn't about hurting David. He was already beyond pain. It was about taking away the one thing he valued above all else, his legacy, the image of the perfect man. I was going to expose him. But I needed proof. I started my own investigation. First, I went back to the old farmhouse. The road was paved now. The farm was gone, replaced by a housing development. But I found the county clerk's office. I looked up the old accident report. It was thin. A hit and run. No witnesses. The girl was found by a farmer at dawn. The case went cold. Then I looked for the owner of the yearbook. The handwriting. Meet me at the fair. The county fair happened every September. Emily died in October. David was supposed to be working late. I found an online alumni group for the local high school. I posted an old photo of David from the 90s, asking if anyone remembered him. I got a few messages, nothing concrete. Then one name popped up in my inbox. Margaret. She said she was a friend of Emily's.
He described going to meet Emily that night. He said she was waiting by the old road. He said she was crying, hysterical. She told him she was pregnant. She said she was going to tell everyone, his wife, the school, the police. He said he panicked. He told her to get in the car. She refused, screaming at him, calling him a liar. He said he just wanted to make her stop, to get her in the car so they could talk. He got out. They struggled. And in the struggle, he pushed her. Hard. She fell backwards, her head hitting the large rock on the side of the road. The rock that was listed in the police report as the possible cause of her head injury. She was silent. He panicked. He put her in his car, drove her a mile down the road, and placed her body near a ditch to make it look like a hit and run. He then drove home, cleaned the car, and created his alibi. The recording ended with him sobbing, saying over and over, "It was an accident. It was an accident." But it wasn't. It was a panic-fueled cover-up of manslaughter. My revenge wasn't violent. It was worse than that. It was the truth. I created a website. I called it The Secret I Kept. I uploaded the recording. I scanned the yearbook photo, the note on the back. I wrote the whole story. Not as a defense of myself. I know I was complicit. But as a confession. I told the world about the husband I worshipped, the father I protected, and the girl I helped him bury twice, once in the ground and once in a lie. I shared the link on the town's Facebook page, on Leo's page, on every local news outlet's tip line. The reaction was immediate. It was a firestorm. The local news ran with it, then national. David's name, his face, was splashed everywhere, not as a beloved architect and family man, but as a monster. The statute of limitations for manslaughter had long passed, so there was no legal case. But that didn't matter. This wasn't about the law. This was about reputation. It was about legacy. Leo called me, his voice cracking with the pain I had caused. He was devastated. His hero was a fraud, a killer. My daughter-in-law wouldn't let me near my grandkids. My friends abandoned me. Some called me a hero for finally telling the truth. Most called me a monster for waiting 30 years, for protecting a killer, for destroying my family. They were right. I was both. I sit here now, in this empty house. The house David built on a foundation of lies. I go to Emily's grave sometimes. I leave flowers. I talk to her. I tell her I'm sorry it took me so long. I tell her that the world finally knows his name. They don't remember him as the man with the perfect pie. They remember him as the man who killed a girl and hid behind his wife's silence for 3 decades. He thought he'd won. He thought death was his escape. But he was wrong. His name is a curse now. His face is a cautionary tale. And every time someone listens to that recording, every time they hear his voice confessing in the dark, he dies a little more. I lost my family. I lost my future. But for the first time in 30 years, I can look at myself in the mirror. And that's a punishment I'm willing to live with. The truth has a long memory, and it's always, always listening.